What's going on, everyone? So, according to the website of Marianne Madelina, producer of Scream 7, Scream 7 will feature the return of Courtney Cox alongside with Nev Campbell. Credits to Critical Overlord. So, this posted has been being shared that Courtney Cox is indeed back. Now, again, this is a producer on Scream 7, so gotta imagine it's credible, but we haven't gotten the official cast list. Things change, things happen, right? So take it with a grain of salt, as always. But I do expect Courtney Cox to be back. I mean, she's been in every Scream movie. She's been in more Scream movies now than Nev, right? So I don't see a scenario where she's not back. I think she will be back. Based on kind of the rumors going around, Gale Weathers is supposed to be a big fixture in this film. Is supposed to be a big focal point, which I'm all for. I didn't mind, I don't think her character was the best in Scream 5, but I didn't mind her in Scream 5, right? I did feel like that was more of a Dewey film than anything else, but, neither here nor there. I thought Gale was alright in Scream 5, but Scream 6, I thought they did a terrible job with her. It was almost like they didn't know what to do with her. It's like they had no clue how to write her into the story, how to make her make sense, any of that. I mean, they should have killed her in Scream 6. They should have. I mean, you basically did, and then you told us off camera, oh, just kidding. Psych. We're just teasing you. No one dies in this movie. Right? It's crazy. But I really do hope that they do a better job of just writing her and telling her story, especially if she's going to be a focal point, right? Again, going off of rumors, they're not supposed to really build and establish any other new characters, right? This is supposed to be a very Sydney and Gale focused film. Sydney and Gale are the characters that they're going to grow and develop, right? Sydney's kids and Mark and Kate and all that stuff, they're supposed to be in the film, but very light, right? Not going to be too heavy. This is a Sydney and Gale led film that is hopeful to start and spark a new trilogy with these two, right? Now, I don't like the idea of not building any other characters, but, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. And look, I am all for Gale and Sydney. I'm never going to complain about Gale and Sydney, right? Grew up with them. I love them as characters, right? I do believe that at some point you need to move on. I do believe at some point you got to kind of go a different direction. But I understand, look, you abruptly had this mess. You had to, be in this position where it's like, okay, well, we don't have Melissa, we don't have Jenna, we don't have Mason, we don't have Jasmine. What do we do? Safest route is Sydney and Gale. All right, fine, you got me, I'm on board. Let's do it, right? I understand the situation. Again, I like the idea of going a different direction. I see a lot of people that want Sydney to have a happy ending and whatnot, but it's like, how can Sydney have a happy ending when she's in every Scream movie, right? At some point, you're going to be in a position to where it's like, you either have to kill her or it just starts getting a little redundant and silly. And, in a lot of ways, I just think it already kind of is getting that direction. But we'll see. See how this is. And I do trust that now you have Kevin Williamson back, right? Should be a little better, right? It's his characters. He's the one that built them, created them. It was his brainchild. Right, so I think he has a good grasp and understanding of Sydney, of Gale, where they should be, how they should be. Right, I trust Kevin Williamson to kind of rewrite this ship, right? But I do need Gale and Sydney to have actual convincing story and understanding, and I don't want it to be all over the place. Again, look at Scream 6, and it's just like Gale, she was not needed, and there was nothing in that movie that Gale did that was needed. Nothing. It literally could have been any other character. The only thing that she did of any substance was find the shrine room, but Dermot Mulroney's character, Detective Bailey, literally says he was going to reveal it, but Gale beat him to it. So, the only thing that Gale did in the entire movie was going to happen anyway because of the killer, right? So, again, what was Gale in that movie for? What was she needed for? She has a new boyfriend. She's moved on with her life. Just leave her out of it then. Like maybe give us a little glimpse. She's happy. She's moved on. She's whatever, right? Like we didn't even get backstory or, is she broken? Does she have the new boyfriend because she just wants to keep her mind off of Dewey? Is she broken? Like there's a million things that they could have done with Gale in Scream 6, and they just didn't do anything. She was already in the movie. Like, I don't want that. Scream 5 did a terrible job with Sidney Prescott, in my opinion. Again, nothing in that movie required Sidney Prescott. Nothing. Her and all her heroics at the end, all could have been Mindy. We knew Mindy was alive. We knew she was just hiding out, or passed out or whatever. You could have had a thing where she shows up and been the hero, or, Jenna Ortega or whatever, right? Like, you didn't need that. Her putting the tracker on the car, right? Like she says, and that as soon as she does it, that Gail could have done it. She learned it from Gail. Gail could have been the one to do it. It's just like, again, you kind of go through these things and it's like, okay, like Sidney had, like, we didn't even get a Sidney reaction to the death of Dewey. That's her everything. That's her surrogate big brother. That's been one of the most important people in her life. The one constant she's had, the one person that she can call at any point, and he would drop everything to go help her and save her or do whatever. He called her just to tell her to be careful because he loves her so much and she loves him so much. And yes, they based on the story that we got, they hadn't talked in so long and all that stuff, and she was surprised it was Dewey and whatnot. But guess what? It's still Dewey. And we didn't even get a reaction. I'm not saying she had to be completely broken, distraught. No, oh my God. Like, no, but we should have gotten something. Right? She just picks up and she's there and she's ready to go. Right? Like, there was just so much blown opportunity with Sidney in Scream 5 and Gale in Scream 6. And I don't want to see that happen again. I don't want to see that replicate. Especially if you're trying to create a new trilogy and whatnot, and you're trying to it's just, at some point you gotta tell a good story, right? I've had real concerns from Scream 5 about just the writing. The writing hasn't really been great. Like, it hasn't been something that, like, you can put a lot of confidence in my opinion. Look, I'm still always gonna ride for Scream. I still love Scream, right? I enjoyed the movies, but I also have to be honest too. I also have a duty to be to honesty, right? And I wasn't a big fan with the legacy characters and their development, and even just really the character development period. Character development was so bad in Scream 5. Like, your main character, the consensus was that she was trash and get rid of her. I didn't really mind Sam, right? And I've talked about it before, and I defended Sam and all that, or Melissa and all that stuff. And people kind of came around to her in Scream 6, but still, it's like, like even Chad, like, we didn't get to know anybody in Scream 5. Right? Like, outside of Chad being the jock, but he's like the nice jock. Like, what do you know about Chad? Right? Like, what is there, like, what's his personality? Like, how is he really? Right? Like, again, like, you look at Scream 5, Liv, all of them. Right? Like, what are their, like, who are they? Right? You look at Scream 96, like, you knew who each character were. You understood them, you felt them, you built this relationship with them so much so people want, Stu to come back and make arguments for Tatum to return and all that stuff because they were so loved. Right? Like, again, because you knew, you got it, you understood who they were. Stu is the popular class clown. Parents are always absent. But he throws epic parties and is Billy's sidekick and has got the pretty girl, but he's also kind of a little bit of a womanizer, right? Like, you see that, right? Billy is kind of the dark, mysterious kind of greaser dude, right? Like, is he bad guy? Is he good guy? He's trying to, like, you got these characters, you got to get to know them. Randy, he's the nerd that's obsessed with the girl that, he's got the encyclopedia of horror in his mind, right? Like, he's little, like, not really popular, but he's not really like an outcast. Like, he's kind of popular because of the group that he hangs out with, right? It's just like, you kind of go down the list and you got to know who these people were. You got to know who Gale was, and even with Gale and Sidney, you got the character development and growth, right? Especially Gale, Like I've said numerous times, and I stand by, Gale has gotten the most and best character development and growth out of any of the characters, even Sydney. Go watch her from Scream 96 to Scream 5, because she didn't really get any development in Scream 6. And tell me she doesn't have an insane character arc. But then you get to Scream 6 and you don't know anything about her. You don't know anything about Gale. Right? Like, how is she coping? How is she dealing? Like, okay, yeah, sure, she just locked away into her work and said, okay, fine, but like, can we get some insight? How is she? Is she back to being cutthroat? Is she, is she friendly? I know, like, yeah, she did another book, but like, what is that? Like she said, somebody's gonna do it here, right? And she doesn't really know those people. I want a good, convincing story. You want to build off of Gale and Sydney? Fine, let's do it. I'm on board. Let's go. But do right by these characters, these legacy characters. These characters are very important and significant and mean a lot to a lot of people, right? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think, hey, they got to do a better job of growing and developing these characters? You excited? Gale, again, take it with a grain of salt for now. But if it is Scream 7 producer, then yeah, it's probably pretty accurate. But again, just for safety, just to not get your hopes up, right? And like I said, things change. Something comes up, all of a sudden you can't do it no more or something. You never know, right? But again, let me know your thoughts, opinions, how you feel down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.